Yo, what's up guys? It is Bumfris, back with episode 28 of our Reddit series. This one's going to be some more entitled parents, and I know you're going to love this one. I've tried my best to weed out the fake ones yet again, so I hope that makes the video a little bit more enjoyable. Otherwise, we're around that 40,000 subscriber mark. Let's aim for 42,000 in the next couple of days. So if you haven't already, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Now sit back, relax, and laugh at some entitled parents. So I'm a college student in the upper Midwest, and as you all probably know, we got hit pretty bad by the polar vortex recently. This led to us missing an entire week of classes and falling behind pretty far on course content. Luckily, a couple of my professors were smart enough to post some recorded lectures up on our college's network, so we could listen to them in our own time. This is important because I decided to knock a few hours of this out at my local cafe, as classes were going to resume in 2 days and just listening to them at home sounded really dull. May as well chow down on a chocolate croissant while you're being forced to listen to your professor ramble on about Western literature, you know? So I'm listening to these boring ass lectures on my phone and typing up an essay on my laptop. Then all of a sudden, a boy from the table to my left starts shaking his table. Now I'm a drama loving bitch, so I take out one of my headphones to hear this conversation. "Mom, the battery is dead." The mother sighs almost exaggeratedly loud and grabs a phone. I'm assuming hers from this little kid's hand. She says something lowly to her kid that I can't quite hear, but whatever it was, her kid was having precisely none of it. He starts to throw a full-scale tantrum and is crying quite loudly. Instead of doing the responsible thing and taking her kid outside for a talking to, she scans the cafe briefly before her eyes land on me. I get embarrassed for a moment as I assume she'd caught on to my eavesdropping on her mummy drama. I turn my eyes and desperately hope she's not going to call me on it. She looks at me and says, "Excuse me?" Well damn, I'm trying to think of an apology that I can give her without revealing that I really don't care. She interrupts me before I can. "Would you mind letting my son play on your phone while I finish up my lunch?" That wasn't what I was expecting, and it took me aback. I shake my head. "No, sorry." I say, "I'm really busy right now." And then she decides to pull out one of the most bitchy of all mum phrases. "Sweetheart, you've never been busy until you've had a kid." She sneers this with passive aggression leaking from her tone. "It'll only take a few minutes." And I still say, "Sorry, no." I was not about to put myself behind for any amount of time for someone else's hell child. She glares at me but doesn't say anything else. She grabs her still screaming child and leaves the cafe in a huff. I know this isn't as bad as some of the other stories on this sub, but it really surprises me that parents like this are an actual thing. I'm just hoping that I never run into her again. I think what's changed so much in recent times is that people are using a device or an iPhone or whatever it is to parent their kid instead of just learning to parent them themselves. To make a comment about how busy it is to be a parent while you're simultaneously parenting your kid with a phone is just pathetic. I get that sometimes it's a good way to keep your kid distracted, but to be completely reliant on it like this lady is just doesn't make any sense. If you learn to parent your kid personally, you wouldn't have this problem. So just for some background, I worked at a AAA gaming company and we had a booth at a convention for a first look at the game. The line was about 4 hours long and you got to play the game for 10 minutes. Personally, I don't think it was worth the wait. We did let press cut in line if you had an appointment with us or if you worked for a notable company like Kotaku or IGN. Lots of people had press passes for ridiculous things like mymumsbasementgamereview.com. It was ridiculously easy to get a press pass at this convention, so we had to be diligent. Anyway, there is a break in our line and this guy and his son try to sneakily stand in the break. Luckily, the people at the convention are line snobs because they've been waiting forever and grab my attention. I walk up to him and say, "The line ends back there," while pointing to a long line. And he responds by saying, "We don't have time to wait all the way back there. Besides, my son is a reviewer." He shows me his press pass and I take a look at it and his son is a YouTuber. So I look up his channel and he has like 500 subscribers. I respond by saying, "I'm sorry, but we can't make any exceptions for you. Please go to the back of the line." And he says to me, "Listen, I'm very good friends with the CEO of this company. I can just make one call and get you fired." So I say, "Sure, go ahead," while I watch him fumble with his phone and make a fake call. When he realizes that he's not faking it very well, he says to me, "He didn't pick up. Let me speak with your manager." And I just say, "Sure." We do have a lot of entitled people during the convention, so it was decided that when people asked for a manager, we would just bring out my 6'4" intimidating looking coworker. My coworker comes out while the dad continues to explain how his son is a famous YouTuber and he would be reviewing the game, and we weren't making a good first impression. And the kid chimes in and says he could make or break this game. My coworker laughs in their face and says, "Yeah, I'm sure you could ruin us. Now get to the back of the line before I call security and kick you out of this convention." Before they leave, the kid takes out his camera and points it at me and my manager, and his dad looks at our name tags and says, "Good luck ever working in this industry again after we make a video about how terribly we were treated here." 3 years later, I'm still working in games. I have no idea if the son has any more subscribers though. I mean, last episode I said that they were all entitled mums. I at least had to throw one example of an entitled dad in there, right? I could never imagine either of my parents acting like this over something so petty. I guess that's the difference between normal parents and entitled parents. My baby brother was a victim of a horrible medical malpractice when he was 6 months old. This left him with progressive encephalopathy, aka progressive brain death, extreme and uncontrollable epilepsy, and to top it all off, when he was 5, they discovered that he had cystic fibrosis. Obviously, a kid that sick wasn't projected to live long. Like many small children with terminal diagnosis, when he was 5, his doctor referred him to Make-A-Wish, a charity that grants wishes to terminally ill children. Since my brother loved the local amusement park, my parents asked to take him to Disney World. Let me just say, Make-A-Wish treats you right. We had a limo to the airport, a 2-bedroom condo in the Give Kids the World village, a resort solely for kids with Make-A-Wish, and passes to not only Disney World, but also to SeaWorld and Universal Studios. Random important tidbit, when you're with Make-A-Wish, they give the wish kid a huge button to wear to make it easier for staff places to spot families. My brother thought buttons were idiotic, so my mum wore it the whole trip. One of the activities they send families to while at Universal is a free dinner at Hard Rock Cafe. We arrive at the cafe to find it packed to the brim. My older brother and I were super excited about eating there. We were about 7 and 10 years old, so mum reluctantly waited in line at the hostess stand to see how long the wait was. When the woman in front of us put her name in, also for a family of 5, she was told the wait was 90 minutes. She huffed a bit but gave in to waiting. Having overheard the 90-minute wait time, mum had begun telling us we couldn't wait that long and she was sorry. We'd have to eat somewhere else. Spotting the huge button on my mum's shirt, the hostess immediately waved us over and grabbed 5 menus. The hostess asks, "You're with the Make-A-Wish, right?" And my mum says, "Yeah, we are, but we can't wait that long." So the hostess says, "No worries, we keep a table reserved for Make-A-Wish families. We can seat you immediately." My mum breathes a huge sigh of relief and turns to follow the hostess. It was at this point that the woman in front of us, aka the entitled mum, overheard what was happening. The entitled mum says, "That's not fair." She stomps her foot and says, "Why don't they have to wait?" The hostess says, "They're with Make-A-Wish. We keep tables reserved for our Make-A-Wish families so they can get maximum enjoyment from their trips." And she responds and says, "If my kids have to wait, so do they." And the hostess responds again, "No, they don't. I say who sits when. They sit now, you have to wait." End of story. The entitled mum says, "It should be the opposite of that. They already get a free vacation and now they get to skip lines too? That's not fair. Someone needs to give my sons a free vacation." And the hostess, who at this point is clearly fed up with her crap, says, "I'll tell you what, when one of your kids is dying, I'll let them skip the line. Until then, be grateful you'll get to see your kids live to adulthood." And with that, the hostess promptly sat us down and apologized for the woman's horrid behavior. Considering it was normally my mum apologizing for my brother's goofy behavior, she was completely stunned to have someone stand up for us like that. In fact, we were treated so well on our trip that my parents found a way to save every single spare penny and find the cheapest possible options so we could go to Disney each fall for 1 week. I got to go a total of 4 times with my brother before he passed away at the age of 10, and I'm more grateful than words could say for the kindness and compassion we were repeatedly shown on our trips. The memories have and will last a lifetime. Honestly, I really don't have a lot to say about this one. All I know is it makes me sad and angry at the same time. The fact that you would feel entitled over a child who is literally dying really breaks my heart. If someone was to just push in line and be allowed to do that, fair enough if you get annoyed. But this is completely different, and the fact that you would even think about complaining really gets to me. I don't know, I'm not going to harp on about this, but I'm sure it's going to annoy you guys just as much, so let me know. Alright everyone, that is that for today's video. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So, given that there were only 3 posts in this episode, I wanted to get your opinion on something for the next Entitled Parents episode. I usually like to make my videos somewhere between the 10 and 11 minute mark, which is why it can sometimes limit how many Entitled Parents posts I can get into one episode. So what I want to know in the comments, and I don't usually ask you guys for anything specific in the comments, but what I want to know is if you'd be happy to see an episode that went for maybe 15-16 minutes that had an extra couple of posts. It really is up to you guys. At the end of the day, I'm trying to push out the content that you guys want to see, and I don't want to make a video that long if you guys aren't going to want to watch it. So yeah, let me know, but otherwise that is that for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I'll see you all tomorrow for some more Nice Girls. Bye.